What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today we got another 5 questions. Ask Bios3 5 questions. Shut these fucking messages off. We should probably fix that fucking camera angle too. Make that shit square. Fucking messages. People, go away. Leave me alone. Anyways, 5 questions. Here we go. Number 1. What are your thoughts on the Undertaker's streak being broken? Okay, this one's obviously... Actually, I think all of these are wrestling based. My thoughts on the Undertaker's streak being broken. Honestly, my personal opinion, I think it was bad for business. That's my personal opinion. I think that, you know, breaking the streak, shut these fucking messages off. Breaking that streak is something the Undertaker wanted to do. For some reason, Vince McMahon thought it was a good idea. I think, you know, like Goldberg's streak was broken. He was undefeated when WCW was around. And that whole storyline, I think, honestly, having the undefeated streak just at WrestleMania, it's not like the Undertaker never lost a match. Having the undefeated streak at WrestleMania, I think, personally... leaving it intact would have been pretty awesome. And I think that it probably would have been better that way. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think it did anything for the business. I don't think it did anything for Brock Lesnar. I mean, you know, big deal. He broke the streak, but, you know, he's the one that fucking did this Suplex City thing, which I think is really big, which is, you know, he fucking suplexes everybody around the ring. So to me, that's just as impressive as that match, because the Undertaker's getting older. So the match wasn't that great, I thought, anyways, with the Undertaker and Brock. So, you know, my personal opinion is I would have left it intact. 2, remember Dustin Rhodes using the Bulldog as his finisher when he was a kid. Lex Luger hitting with the forearm. Today's kinds of moves are tough to sell as a finisher. What do you think it takes to make a run-of-the-mill move like a Bulldog forearm strike or clothesline go over with the fans as a legit finisher? Well, like anything in general, things evolve. So if you're looking at, you know, wrestlers from like the 70s and 80s, it's not the same thing. The 90s, not the same thing. You had moves like the Stone Cold Stunner, the People's Elbow. You know, now you have guys like this guy Neville doing the Red Arrow off the top rope, which I saw in person at the Arnold this year. He was with NXT, and NXT had set up a ring at the Arnold and had this like little arena and stuff. And I saw him do that fucking move, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And the thing about it is a lot of these NXT guys and these independent guys are that good. But if you put them in the ring with some of these other guys, they're not that good. I mean, we even see John Cena doing things that he didn't used to do that are a little more showman-like because he has to do it. It's not that he couldn't do them before, but it's like, why do them if you don't have to do them? And the competition, I feel like, is getting so good for like those top spots that there are better and better people like the Lucha Dragons, these fucking Lucha, these guys, you know, Kalisto, whatever the fuck his name is. I've seen some independent footage of him, and he's fucking badass. Sin Cara, I don't know if it's the real one or if it's the fucking 50th incarnation of Sin Cara or whatever, but those guys do some pretty fucking amazing stuff down in the luchador stuff, but they don't do it in the WWE. So I think that if they were to do that stuff, the people that really can't do that stuff would be out of business. It makes them look bad. So they are actually held back. So I think that the forearm smash and the full Nelson and all this bullshit, gone. Things of the past, especially as we see these new guys like Kevin Owens and Neville and the other guy, Finn Balor or whatever his name is. Once they start coming in, things are going to be different. And there'll be even more of a wow factor, I feel. What's been the best finish to a match that you've been part of with regards to the story that you were telling in the ring at the time? One cool story was like, oh no, you know what? I guess I had this battle with Mike Foster. This is going back to Yankee Pro Wrestling days. And we had this thing going back and forth. He was from Australia. He wasn't really Australian. He had, like, that was his gimmick. And Foster, his last name Foster was Faustus Fabier. Like, he got it from a fucking TV commercial. So we had these battles going back and forth. And it was like, he was always the heel. I was always the face. And we traveled all through New England doing this storyline. And we had house shows that were pretty much twice a month or 3 times a month or whatever it was that had continuing storylines. And it was, I think, our final match together in this feud. And we kind of fucked up a spot. Like, he was supposed to go to give him a power bomb and actually put him straight up over my head. He goes up and then does like a sunset flip, but he didn't push hard enough, so he went up and just came right back down. We wound up getting the match done, but there wasn't really the wow factor in it. And I could tell by the crowd there wasn't a wow factor, and there was nothing after that finish of the match that was supposed to happen. And I took it upon myself at the end of the match, while he was celebrating and he's got his whole wow up to the crowd and stuff. I was like, all right, we're going to actually do something that's going to put the crowd over even more because I think this will work. And on the spot, you have to make that decision. He turned around, I kicked him, and I gave him a sit-out powerbomb in the middle of the ring and gave one of the fucking Stone Cold fucking deals like this and then fucking hit the ropes and, you know, the crowd popped, and that was basically saved the match at that point. I mean, the finish kind of fucking sucked. So that was probably my favorite on the spot, on the fly, changing to the end of a match that I did that I wasn't told to do that went over. And, you know, when we got in the back, the promoters were like, oh, you know, that was pretty good. You know, like you went over, like he kind of got one over on you with a fucking stupid sunset flip, which realistically is not really going to happen to you from him. But at the end, you looked strong by giving him the power bomb. He's the heel, so that was probably the best one there. I love that one. I wish I had it on film. Do I think the rise of MMA, it's number 4, will have more of an impact on pro wrestling with regard to the moves, techniques that we see? Undertaker's using a submission hold? Yes, absolutely. There's it's been coming for a while now. You had people like Ken Shamrock, that was like the submission specialist. You have different moves that I think that I've seen some of the NXT girls like Paige doing, and some of them, not necessarily the guys, but I mean, you've always had submission moves like John Cena has his attitude adjustment or whatever the fuck it is, STFU. Yeah, the attitude, whichever one his move is where he's got the ankle. It's like a crossface. I mean, you're always going to have those things that are, submission type moves, but you're going to see more of it. I think you'll see more of like the high flying stuff coming in the next 4 or 5 years rather than, the submission thing. Because the submission thing, let's face facts, it's kind of boring in the WWE. You want to see high flying, big pops, aerial stuff. Somebody putting somebody in like, the Undertaker's chokehold there, like the leg triangle. Not as cool as the tombstone or the fucking chokeslam. So I don't think you'll see it because it's not as showy. What was my finisher when I wrestled, and how did I come to using it? The spear. The spear was my finisher. I wound up using it because you can pull it off on a smaller guy, a guy my size, or a guy even bigger. Like there were guys that were, 350, 400 pounds that I was working with in the ring. And to give them a finisher like the jackhammer or something that took, not necessarily strength, but the skill of both of you together to pull these things off is, it's not always plausible. So I tried to figure out something that would basically be applicable to everyone and would be realistic, and that was the spear. I was big enough and broad enough up in the shoulders with the neck, similar to Goldberg. Like, I wouldn't say I was as big as Goldberg, but I had that kind of look, the thick traps, the thick shoulders, more powerful looking but symmetrical than some of the other guys. And when I came off the ropes, I was able to, plant my head in a certain way, and actually as I would hit them with my shoulder, I would pull with my hands on their legs, it would flip their bodies out, and all they had to do was just bump. They basically just had to get up on their toes, and I would fold them in half with a spear, and it worked on bigger, smaller guys, whatever. So that was my finisher, and I loved it because it didn't hurt them. It looked like a huge impact, and realistically, if you spear someone, like really spear them, you're going to fuck them up. So it worked out all the way around. So those are the 5 questions, all wrestling based today. Biowrestlertraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biowrestlertraining.com is a blog. It's the old wrestler bicep, and we're out.